Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna here. Basically, we are discussing on the topic that is city creation. City creation. Basically, we are discussing on the topic that is SBI account, SBI account, India account, India account. Basically, we are discussing SBI account, Amazon account. And after 2 days, basically, the big earthquake is going to happen in India. So just a minute. So that is the topic basically which we are discussing. So one of the person told that in previous video basically you told something basically that is 1 lakh year age people basically exist, 90,000 year age people basically exist. They are giving the energy to us. Same way basically the other planets basically are giving ideas to our planet, and whatever basically they have set it some 1,000 year age, and that is the one generation basically of universe for our planet they have set it. So 1,000 year basically is what? This is one time interval basically. Within this time interval, basically, they have designed all the entire data basically for 1,000 years. This basically is the management plan of universe. Basically. In this basically, if any change request exists, that time basically the universe group basically does that also. So here the topic is what basically? Here the topic is the Earth planet 1,000 year data basically is already decided. That group basically who is into the, that means one of the person told that the 100 crore child which is going to happen, that data is already settled in that planet basically. So one of the person told me, मतलब क्या है यार, basically we are not able to understand what actually this is actually. So you want to say that the 1,000 crore child which is going to happen, that data basically has already passed 1,000 year generation basically. That means one child basically got birth, his generation basically passed 100 year, then his generation basically passed a more 100 year, more 100 year, like this basically 1,000 year basically you want to say. Yes, exactly, because this is the only way basically to handle the situation, because in this way there are basically many ways which you handle the situation. This connects to what basically, this connects to basically this topic, that is one of the person told that one human basically designed one potato, and that potato basically was designed by one of the scientists. They told that basically this is the boundary of the potato. Whenever basically you are going to have this potato, your thinking basically will be like this only. Whatever you do. Why? Because potato scientist basically has told that basically we have created potato, so it's going to react to your body like this only. If you are going to have wine basically, this is going to react this way only. If you are having beer basically, this is going to react this way only. If you are having this potato grapes, it is going to react this way only. If you are going to have papaya, it's going to react this way only. If you are going to have mosambi juice, it's going to react this way only. If you are having pomegranate, pomegranate basically, then basically it's going to react this. If you are going to have banana, then basically it's going to react this way only. So what is this all basically? So one of the person told that this all are the data of that 1,000 year basically. Thousand for one of the example basically I will take. One person basically asked the question. Sunil, basically this grapes basically which came basically, that actually came from which energy basically? Can you please tell that basically from that 1,000 year energy basically? For example, first generation completed 100 year, second generation basically completed more 100 year, third generation basically completed more 100 year, like this basically 1,000 year generation basically completed. So from that generation basically, grapes came basically from which generation basically? You have this data basically. Then IT industry told that basically no, basically we don't have this data. But universe group told that basically we have that data. Then basically they told that basically how we can create US asset basically in the universe basically. That is also question basically, because from universe basically one of the person told that Sunil basically told that Earth planet basically can become asset basically, and then basically this type of answer basically you are giving that we don't have this data. grapes basically came from which generation basically. You don't have this data, then basically how basically we can give Earth planet as a asset basically. So immediately the IT industry group basically who are immediately basically wherever the requirement comes, they basically immediately jumps. So they jump and basically they taken this requirement, and he basically done the copyright also. So one of the person told that this is possible basically, which just now basically I told this who can do with this basically who can do, who are into the chip creation basically, who say that basically we basically are going to control the human bodies. So whenever basically one system basically is getting created, if there is no budget boundary basically, then you can go up to the level basically. But if budget boundary is there, then basically you have to think according to the budget. For example, one company told that basically we want to create one CRM project. There is no boundary of there is no boundary of budget. Then CRM project basically can go up to the level basically. So this project is also basically like this. One person told that grapes actually came from which generation? One person told that Earth planet में basically there are basically few software basically created. From there basically you basically don't know, but you think more detail basically. Then he told that basically it came from human generation. That human basically is getting energy from where? They basically collecting energy from nuclear energy. Nuclear basically energy are basically collected from satellites. Satellite basically is coming data from giving data from where? That is that planet basically where 1,000 year people basically already taken the birth. Sorry, 1,000 year generation basically, not 1,000 year generation basically. You can because you can divide the generation from that 1,000 year basically. That much generation basically data basically are taken from that planet basically. So from that planet basically, which is the energy, which is the generation basically, who is giving that data basically for the grapes basically. You have the answer basically. No, basically we don't have. So how basically you can become the asset basically for Earth planet? Sorry, for in universe basically, how Earth planet basically can become asset basically. So immediately the project requirement basically started. So like this basically from this user story basically, we generated one business development task. So one of the person told that yeah basically that's very dangerous thing yeah basically. That means you want to say that basically one person told that if you will eat grapes, then you are going to do this only basically. For that basically you have any movie created. Then one of the Bollywood person immediately basically told yes basically we have the movie. Basically. We have the movie. Basically. One person told that that basically if you have the movie, so before basically creation of movie basically before this what is the sequence basically of this? One of the person basically asked the question. Sequence means first basically the grapes has created. After grapes basically has created, it's going to react like this. Who basically give the trademark basically? How the testing are done? What basically Bollywood is doing basically? Then one of the person told that before Supreme Court basically gives the approval of the final sign basically that grapes is going to react this way only, the Bollywood group basically checks each and everything. They basically creates movie, they basically create serials, they basically create documentary, they basically creates theaters. Then basically they say that basically Graves is going to do these all activities basically. These all basically ideas he is going to generate in the environment basically. When basically after eating that grapes basically. Same way basically after that basically the Supreme Court comes into the picture and they say that basically Bollywood we trust Bollywood and they basically signs that basically Bollywood has basically given correct information. Same way basically for how basically the Supreme Court, High Court basically displays their basically view in front of the public basically. For that basically the Bollywood group, sorry the political people, sorry the Supreme Court and High Court people say that basically we can use our resources also, our resources only basically. For that basically they use political people as a resource basically, and they say that basically this girl basically this boy basically is going, he is a wine basically. This boy basically or this girl basically is going, that is a grapes. And they basically display case basically in front of the public basically. These that basically each and every story basically they creates in that basically Supreme Court comes into the picture. PhD people basically comes into the, because normal people basically can't think up to this level. So in that basically lots of high level basically high tech degree people basically comes into the picture and they say that basically yes basically we know that basically this everything basically. So they basically signs that yes basically grapes is going to do this, wine basically is going to do this, beer is going to do this, because they don't trust anyone basically. So they displace their people basically in front of the public, and they basically displays that this case that case basically they displays each and everything, each and every visualization basically they displays. And Supreme Court and High Court basically do the entire drama basically in video basically, and that drama basically is what drama means, real drama basically, real thing basically they displays, and that basically is watched by some group basically. They say that basically yes basically grapes is going to react this, grapes is wine is going to react like this way, that basically girl is wine, and these all are groups are basically the blood group basically, they are going to have that wine and they are going to react like this is the grapes basically, this person basically is the grapes, and he's basically this all are the blood group basically, they are going to have these grapes and they are going to react like this basically that displays everything basically. And this basically is real basically, but that only political people basically know, because why, because it's their task basically. Like in software company basically project manager is there, software delivery heads are there, testers basically are there, developers are there, quality people basically are there, CEOs are there, CTOs are there. Same way basically in Supreme Court also basically they have their own thing. So political people basically they have given which post basically that we don't know, because that's there basically, because they never displays everything. So one of the person told that this is matlab real or basically what here. Then one of the person told that yes basically Sunil is telling correct, because everything basically you have to display, then only basically you can sign the stuff basically. Yes basically grapes is going to have this whole thing basically. For that basically they watch movie also basically, because everything is connected na, basically that's why basically. Sometimes basically the Bollywood groups are so dangerous people basically, they display that view only basically, this is the energy basically from the grapes is coming, grapes energy is coming from these all areas, up to that level basically that displays the thing basically. But that is the visualization basically. One person told that your visualization is basically perfect basically. So this is that basically. But you don't have the project basically for this. So one of the person told that basically we have collected this requirement and we have basically immediately done the copyright also in front of the group basically. For that basically you have to do lots of stuff basically. But there are basically the digital world basically. So immediately basically everything basically happens. Movie basically gets case, writer basically comes into the picture, that we are this basically writer is this type of writing basically is there. Immediately basically lakhs of stories basically are there. Immediately basically this story basically gets selected. Lots of things basically happens just within 1 or 2 minutes basically. Immediately basically the copyright also basically happens. And this way basically the projects basically are done copyright basically. In this basically we discuss lots of projects basically, which all are basically new projects basically. And the who basically watch this video basically first, he is going to do the copyright basically. But for that basically you have to understand this basically, what actually Supreme Court is doing, what High Court's groups are doing, this everything basically. In that basically what is the police role, because you are eating grapes and then basically you are doing going to rude basically behavior, then basically the police will come into the picture na basically. For that basically the movies are also created, sometimes basically police comes into the picture na basically in movie. That is the scene basically. Exact basically you have to see the visualization. If you watch each and every movie basically in the movie basically in the theater basically, they immediately basically displays everything, but they have not given the job, that is different thing basically. In Mumbai basically they have thrown my complaint, that is basically different thing. That basically we will discuss later on basically, but here basically we are not discussing basically, here we are displaying earth is basically one asset basically. That actually we are displaying. And we are trying to convert Earth planet equal to asset value. In that basically anybody has basically not given me job, somebody basically blocked my resume, somebody blocked my mobile number, some cyber group basically came into the picture, some police department basically came into the picture and told that basically block his these that each and everything basically they blocked. That is different thing, that also we are going to discuss. That all basically we are going to discuss one within 1 hour basically. Within 1 hour basically everything will get clear basically. In this basically earthquake will also basically connect. So that day basically will be the magical day basically. And everybody knows that basically magical day comes, then basically what happens? Universe group basically know that basically what is actually magical. They basically praise basically magical day is not supposed to come there, magical day is not supposed to. So that is different thing basically. That also we are going to discuss what actually magical is this. So this is actually one of the small magic basically, which is displayed in front of the public by the world creator. But these all are real data basically. These all are the real data. And the real data are very dangerous. So 1,000 year people basically they have already generated the generation. They have dumped the data basically in our planet, and this many generation is going to use this energy, and they are going to have this whole life basically. So upper level of grapes is this whole thing. So one person basically asked the question, one the grapes actually came from which generation? Yeah? You know basically from the 1,000 year people basically. From where basically the grapes came basically that from grapes energy basically came from which user stories, which idea connected. That basically you have the data. Then it was the no basically we don't have the data. User story basically you have no user story also you don't have. Then basically what you have here? One of the satellite person basically asked the question. Then basically how you can say that basically your earth land basically will become asset basically. One of the person told that in Mumbai basically nobody basically goes without money basically. But I was the one person basically who left Mumbai city basically without money basically, without earning money basically. That was the history basically. I think in Mumbai basically nobody goes without money basically. If you came to Mumbai basically, you will take something basically from Mumbai. But I was the first person basically who actually got out basically from Mumbai without money. So that also basically we are going to discuss basically later on basically. So here the topic is display everything basically in front of the world basically. In this basically one of the person told that that is okay basically. But from where basically the 1 lakh year you told basically the Earth planet only basically contains 1 lakh year people basically. So grapes is coming from which grapes basically connected from which generation basically. Then that is also very dangerous thing basically. Because after basically the people basically die, or basically the death certificate basically the issues. After that basically there is no connection between system basically. For example, Sardar Patel died. He basically got the death certificate. After that, basically, he also don't know basically that he is Sardar Patel. But he connects with the 1 lakh year people basically, and he basically has his normal life basically. But he basically gets the respectable post basically as per public behavior basically of the Patel group. Sardar Patel is Patel, so Patel group basically that is. And this is real story basically. One of the person told that what Sardar Patel basically currently is doing basically. There is no answer for Patel only basically. But few Patel group basically are connected. Why? Because it's going to affect to entire Patel basically. For example, there are 10 crore Patel group. It's going to affect to entire 10 crore people. Basically. So few people basically are connected. Few people basically are connected basically, with that Patel, Sardar Patel. So here one of the person took that. From 1 lakh year, basically the people basically who are having the 1 lakh year age, grapes actually came from which idea? 1 lakh year basically, their age basically uh, is doing the process of grapes. They started the process of age. 90,000 also basically year people basically started the process of age. So from where basically the grapes energy, grapes story basically connected. Ideas keeps on processing 1 lakh year, 90,000 year, 80,000 year. Like this basically keeps on processing. So from where this grapes idea basically connected? You have this data basically. There is no data basically. Because why? Because the system is not connected with this group based. That is the question basically. So there is no, but somebody basically might be handling the software industry basically. This all data basically. Because it might be possible that something basically can happen with the grapes data. Then basically what you are going to do. For example, just now basically the corona came basically. In that basically lots of problem basically the doctor has faced basically. In this lakhs of doctor also basically died. But it has never came into the picture. Why? Because this is the lack of system basically. If anybody will know that basically 1 lakh doctor basically died, then basically what is the it will be the insult of earth planet basically. This connects to insult of government basically. The people will say that basically what a insult basically has happened with the government basically. That people will say basically. So for that, basically, you have to be ready with this data, basically. So that basically next time, basically in future, basically any big disease will come. That time, basically, data is there. That is basically different thing. Basically, I have not got job in Mumbai, in Bangalore. That we are going to discuss. But here the topic we are discussing that is Earth land basically is going to convert to asset basically. That topic actually we are discussing. So one of the person told that we are actually discussing this planet basically. So we are actually discussing this topic basically. So one of the person told that we are basically what actually we are discussing only basically we are not able to get here. Basically. When we watch the your which video basically if we watch 4 to 5 times basically or 10 times basically 20 times then only basically we try to we get little bit basically. But the who are into the nuclear energy, who are into the energy group, who are basically designing the Microsoft, who actually designed the Microsoft, they basically can understand easily. They basically can understand easily actually what I want to say because they have designed everything. They have designed Microsoft.net. In Microsoft.net, basically they have designed many tools. They have designed Microsoft Project. In project, basically the software project manager, software delivery head design their projects. They basically writes user stories. They basically writes the time, basically timeline. This will be the user stories, and this is the time. That also basically in the modular wise basically. That is the nowadays it's called as a sprint wise. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the world basically has connected. So one of the person told that this up to this level basically one of the person basically have to think basically. So here actually we connected to what basically? That 1 lakh year age people basically are giving the user stories of graves data. One of the person told them from where the user story of graves started basically. That is also question basically. From where the idea of the graves connected basically. Like this basically all human needs basically we have in front of the world basically. That also you can see. This all data basically the High Court and Supreme Court might be. 100% might be having them basically. They might be 100% having because they have PhD people. They basically have a high tech education department people basically. And they basically are telling that basically Bollywood is our one of the group basically. They are basically having these all data basically. So they 100% might be having that data. Otherwise, basically, how the entire creation is running basically. That is also question basically. Everything is running very smoothly basically. The world is system is running so smoothly that basically you will not able to believe it. That means system is created by some group. So grapes equal to movies, serials, theaters. These all are created. That's why everything basically is going so smoothly basically. You will not able to believe it. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this topic.